Well, it looks like not only is AMD pushing more Zen 5 SKUs, both on the regular base SKUs and X3Ds, they are also covering the mobile section for gaming and mainstream laptops that are still to be released. Let's get into this. Hi everyone, it's Brad Locked back again with some more tech news. Hope you're having a good weekend. Now, we recently talked about, I heard the rumors, I saw the articles about AMD releasing additional Zen 5 base SKUs and X3D SKUs. And now they're pushing on their mobile front, aka their laptop front, and they divide the laptop section in two areas. One for high-end mainstream, one for high-end gaming, and one for mainstream, like the regular run-of-the-mill ones. Now, originally we thought the Medusa Point we heard float around, the name floating around, was pretty much going to be their top of the line CPU space or CPU config for their laptops when they release it on Zen 5. But, however, that's not the case. And even more surprise is that it's going to be Zen 6 base for their replacement for their existing one, which I think is called Fire Range or Fire Point. Now, in addition to that, what's more interesting to me is the core count is going to be up to 24 cores, and that one is going to be called Gator Range. We all know how they like using creature names for their code names. So the Gator Range is going to replace the Fire Range, which is last gen for their laptop space, with their new one that's going to be Zen 6 based. And their top of the line, according to the articles, both on videocars.net and WCCF Tech, is going to be 24 cores, 32 threads. So, yes, you heard me right. Laptops, like to a point now in technology, we can get all these cores on a laptop. Of course, it won't be a comparable exactly one-to-one ratio for a full-blown 24 core on a desktop front, because I guess the thread count is what differentiates it, because if it's on a desktop, it'll be 48 threads versus 32 threads. And according to the articles, the 24 core is going to be their flagship laptop for their high-end releases, which is going to be coming up probably sometime next year, along with Zen 6. This is Zen 6 based, and it's going to have a RDNA 4 based iGPU, for what I'm seeing in the articles. And the Medusa Point, which is going to be the mainstream, which I thought originally, a lot of us thought originally was going to be the high-end one, but I guess it flipped. So the Medusa Point is their mainstream, and Gator Range is their high-end, big performance ones for their laptops. So the Medusa Point for the mainstream is going to be up to 22 cores. The 22 core configuration is the Medusa Point's flagship chip that has 22 cores. Kind of a weird setup, because I never heard of a 22 core before. If it was a desktop front, it would be 22 cores, 44 threads. Just how a 24 core would be 48 threads. So again, you see the differentiation there between the laptop space and the desktop. Way less threads than the desktop space. But according to the article, they're saying that the performance numbers what they've seen, of course, they didn't show them, obviously, but from what they say in the article from their sources, the performance numbers are close to the big brother versions of them on the desktop space. So that's really good if it gets at least 80% of a desktop space or desktop variant for the config, like a 24-core desktop versus a 24-core laptop. That's insane to see how far technology has come. So they have no pricing yet, no release yet, but the Zen 6, it being Zen 6 based, both of them, both the mainstream and the high end, both being Zen 6 based, already gives me a hint that it's probably going to release the same time as Zen 6 on the desktop, which will be sometime early next year, according to the information we have right now. So no pricing. They didn't say any config for RAM, or how much RAM is going to be, or how much the CPU is going to boost to when they release them, unfortunately. But all we know is the core count and the thread count, and a ballpark when they're going to release it, 2026, which is when Zen 6 comes out. And their iGPU is going to be RDNA 4 based, which is going to be very interesting, because RDNA 4 is what we're on now for the dedicated discrete desktop GPUs. So if they're using cut down core counts for the GPUs on the desktop front to make on their iGPUs for Zen 6, that's crazy. But y'all let me know in the comments below if you think, are you surprised as I am that laptops are every year goes by, they're catching up closer and closer to the specs on a desktop? Let me know what your thoughts are on what do you think the pricing is going to be like between the mainstream and their high-end gaming laptop CPUs. Do you think it's going to be more expensive than like a full-blown gaming desktop with their desktop variants of their CPUs? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is by Lot Tech signing out.